So here's how thick the weeds were before we started. We're today finally going to get the gravel laid down in landscape fabric in the rose walkway in the pathway here. And I say today as in like it only took us a day to do it, but in honesty, it took like 7 or 8 days over a period of 3 months. I started June, my goodness, June 11th. And there was just a ton of weeding to do. It had gotten overgrown way a lot. But hopefully after getting this pathway and the gravel down over the landscape fabric, hopefully it won't be quite so bad to continue weeding it. I even weeded around the outside of it, and every time I weeded, I had to rake to see if I got all of the weeds, and of course there was always more weeds underneath. So I weeded, I raked, I weeded and raked some more. I'm not sure why I didn't just prune that rose bush right there, as it kept getting in my way when I was raking. I do finally eventually prune it, but I don't know why I didn't do it while I was raking right there. Some of you may ask why my husband didn't help me with that pathway. It's because he had his own pathway to do, and he does come help me here and for a couple of the days, helps bring in the gravel and helps lay down the landscape fabric. You can see right here he's shoveling in the gravel, so I would not have been able to do it without him, that is for sure. I don't think it's going to show up on camera, but we had to take a pause because over here in this area, back in this grass up on the hill right in the middle, there was some smoke, and it is still illegal to do some burning here because we are just way too dry and it's windy today. We thought at first maybe it was the start of a field burn, but there really isn't a field over there to do field burning, so just checking to see if it's a wildfire. Lee went and driving around there to check to see if it's somebody's illegally burning or if it's a wildfire starting up. There's a better picture of the smoke we're seeing. Right there. It's just lime dust. It's not even smoke, it's just lime dust. That's a relief. Okay, now that that debacle is over with, getting the dog doo-doo off my shoe, back to business. So this video was never meant as a how-to video. It's more of a this is what we did video. I know we probably made mistakes. Some of the things we did right is we did put some drains in underneath the stone and gravel where the roses are at, but we did not think about putting drains in underneath this pathway. I'm not sure how that would have worked, but this is not a how-to. This is just what we did. We weeded, we raked, we weeded, raked, tried to get all of the grass and weeds out before we laid down the fabric, tried to get it all as level as we could before the fabric goes down and the gravel goes on top of it. And then we petted Dexter, and we petted Dexter some more, and we gave him attention and gave him attention some more, or he demanded it, I should say. Little stinker kitty. I'm not sure if it's coming across on camera from a distance, so if you're wondering what in the world I'm doing, it's these little grass seedlings starting to sprout. I'm just kind of scraping them and trying to get them off before we finish laying down the landscape fabric and put the rest of the gravel on. So this is what I'm doing, is I'm scraping this. And this part probably would have been much easier to do had I had done it with the hula hoe, or the stirrup hoe as some people call it, but that was nowhere to be found. So instead, I just had to keep scraping it up with this tiny little trowel. And yep, that's right, folks. More raking to do after that area is weeded. I'm almost done. I can feel it. I really thought that I recorded me and my husband laying down the actual landscape fabric, but apparently we didn't, or maybe I did record it and it got deleted. I'm not sure, but I don't have any footage of it, and it's probably in reality a good thing, because sometimes when you work together as husband and wife, not everything goes as planned, and these projects sometimes don't bring out the best in us, and unkind words are said, and it's just probably a good thing that we probably don't have any recording of that. Okay, so we're in the middle of bringing gravel to this pathway, and then all of a sudden I hear what sounds like a gunshot. I knew exactly what it was. This is what it was. The tire blew. You can kind of see it from this angle. The tire blew off of our tractor, so that's gonna be a fun fix. So that was extra work for my husband, bringing in the gravel without the tractor. Back to old times, but almost done with the pathway in here. I just need to clean up the edges, cut off the extra landscape fabric. This is what I'm cutting. I'm just cutting the excess landscape fabric off. Lovely. A slug. Some of you might be wondering, well, why not just add more gravel so I don't have to cut off all of the edging? And I'll explain why in just a second. Gosh, I'm sitting here working on this, and I look up for a second, and this is what I see. Isn't that pretty? That one is a scepter to aisle. I wasn't sure I was gonna like that one at first. It's really pretty. Pink with a white edge around it. Much prettier than I expected. So I am not adding more gravel to cover up all of the excess fabric, because if I did that, then the gravel on the pathway would be way uneven, because there are a lot of spots where some of the excess fabric is sticking up about a foot over where the gravel is, and then other spots where the excess fabric is just barely over where the gravel is. And so I am gonna end up having to cut all of this excess fabric off. Some of you may be wondering, why this statue and why is it of a mother and baby? Well, that's because this garden was started in memory of my mom, and she was a labor and delivery nurse and a lactation consultant. So it's in honor of her. I can see the end in sight, guys. Just around this corner there on this side. I am not doing this side because I do not have the wall bricks up yet, and it's kind of pointless to do that side. So I just have from here to the end of that bench on just this side on the right. I do have a very good view though. That Princess Anne and those Queen Elizabeth smell wonderful. On the day of filming this, when I was cutting all of the extra fabric off, I was actually very sick. My back was so sore and I had scraped my knuckles on the stones there, so I was just so happy to be done. It's the end of fabric and I don't feel fine. Well, hello, Gia. This is, I'm not going to say the final product because I don't have the wall, the back wall done. The pathway and the gravel is finally all in. It's not raked out even yet, but the extra fabric is cut off. I'm trying to go slow. I've had complaints. And I will admit, I was going too fast because when I speak, I sometimes, my hands go just as fast as my mouth and I don't think about spinning and making people nauseous. So, as you can see, this wall here is not done. So I'm not going to cut the fabric on this side until I get the wall done, which I'm not sure that's going to happen this fall. We'll see. But all the fabric is cut off on the rest of the wall. All the way on this side, gravel is in. And there we have it. It's in. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, feed the pollinators for me.